week 3, and we're already starting to have some sweats around terrible primetime games. What we got, San Francisco and New York Giants tonight. Hopefully it makes up for some of the defensive performances that we saw on Monday. This one should at least be a little bit more explosive, but at least we got football back. We're already on to week 3, Tyson. You ready?
Even shitty football is football. Let's do it. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, I've mentally moved on from Monday night. I've zenned out. I've enjoyed myself, and I'm back. We're all good. Let's move on to Thursday night football here. We got Giants, 49ers. 49ers are 10-point favorites. Are the Giants, do they suck ass as bad as we think they do? Is it a bad start to the year? It's a very bad start on paper. Are they as bad as their record and these first 2 games suggests?
I think their record might be overstating it a little bit, how bad or how good they are, or how awful they are. Understating it. Look, they're bad. Jesus, that's a terrible start, guys. Bear with me. We'll get there. Look, the Giants suck. I think Sunday may have kind of given people a false impression of who they are. But that was just an absolute masterclass in tanking. Right? You don't go up by that much. I don't care how bad you are. Right, like what Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl was 28-3. That was, I understand the Falcons are a good team, but you don't do that in professional sports. You don't have comebacks like that. I don't give a shit how awful you are. That was the largest in franchise history. What hadn't been done since 1950. So that's what happens, right? I don't think the Giants are good enough to do stuff like that. I think the Cardinals wanted to say, hey, we can build off of this, and that's what we saw. So the Giants suck. That's really what I got to say.
They're playing basically a college team. Although I will say the Cardinals are much better than I thought they were going to be. We've seen some bad teams. You put the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football, and you probably have a relatively entertaining game. Whether it's a lot of points scored, sloppy football, interesting touchdowns. At least the Cardinals, yes, they may be tanking, but they're at least trying. Hey, at least they're trying. All right, let's get into this game, dude. So, if you want to see some crazy shit, let's look at this Vegas total here. 86% of the money, or 86% of the bets coming in on the 49ers. They're at home. They're 10-point favorites. It's a 44.5-point total. Minus 550 on the money line. Interesting. So, what do we do here, man? This obviously calls for 49ers onslaughts. 5-1s, 4-2s, that kind of thing. But we got to get creative, man. This is showdown. Everybody and their brother's going to be playing that. Everybody's going to be playing the San Francisco defense. Everybody's going to be playing 4-2s with Daniel Jones and maybe some other, random dude in the flex. How do we get different here, man? Just generally from a bird's eye view of this slate, before we even get into it, what do you think we can do to get different on the slate? Look at this. Let's read this before you even answer this question. I kind of answered my own question. Cody Main, if you're not following him on Twitter, you probably should. This basically is a Cody Main show at this point. Through 6 primetime NFL showdown slates this season, average number of dupes per lineup is 7.8. Average number of dupes per top 1% of lineups is 12.4. There have been 295 unique top 1% finishing lineups. The average salary spent in those lineups is $46,522. Leave money on the table. That's kind of what we're seeing here, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the best ways, and then this is a particularly interesting one, especially if Saquon's out. There's just no clear, obvious guy you should be playing on the Giants. I think Daniel Jones will probably end up getting the most ownership, obviously, if Saquon's out. But you can get any of those wide receivers, probably 15% or less ownership. So you start playing guys like that and just hope that one of them ends up with the prime touch or the solo touchdown of the game. Like that's kind of the difference maker. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's a way you can get different and still be able to run 4-2s and 5-1s, and the onslaught you're probably going to need to have. It's just you because the Giants have no clear alpha if Saquon's out. I think there's just a lot more flexibility in who you can play, and really maybe minimize some of those dupes.
Well, let's also be clear here. We know that Darren Waller is the guy. The biggest question mark is, can he stay healthy the whole game? Is he healthy in general? And he's going to get a shitload of targets, but are they just going to clamp down on this mofo and like say, hey, I want Isaiah Hodgins to beat us, or Jalen Hyatt on his 2 targets with 90 air yards, or what? Like, are they going to just clamp down on Darren Waller? We saw it with the Raiders. Everyone just said, you know what? I'm just going to make him beat us. So that, to me, Darren Waller is the clear and obvious play. Now, if Saquon plays, we got to figure out what to do with that. If he plays, do I want to play him? Yeah, probably. Teradol that's one hell of a drug. He could probably tough it out for a few hours on a Thursday night. All right, let's look briefly at last week's games just to get ourselves caught up here. So obviously the 49ers won that game against the Rams, but damn, McVay knows these 49ers. He knows Shanahan. He made that a pretty interesting game, not to mention you have some absolute crazy Puka Nacua coming out looking like Anquan Bolden or fucking Jerry Rice. Kyron Williams is now like an elite running back in the NFL. So look, that game probably should have been a little bit bigger of a gap than it should have been, but that's a division rivalry. Those teams know each other well. The Rams aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. I will absolutely admit that. When it comes to the Giants, what was it? 20-0, 20-3. What was that score? What was the comeback here? That was absolutely crazy comeback on their end. What was the score there?
Oh, I don't remember. I think it was close to. I think it was damn near close, 28-0, man. Like, I don't want to overstate it because that's like one of the biggest comebacks in NFL history, but that shit was something that hadn't happened. Yeah, Giants rally from 21-point deficit. So
it doesn't count.
I exaggerated a little bit, but that's still crazy, man.
I don't care what you say. That shit doesn't count. That shouldn't go in the record books. It's the fucking Cardinals. Like, they're clearly tanking. I'm impressed that they actually put up the numbers they did, 28 points. But you got to think, you have Joshua Dobbs, who was traded for a week before the start of the season, putting up 28 points against the Giants. I can't wait to see what the San Francisco 49ers do. I know it's only one game, but we're talking about 2 games here. The Cowboys absolutely dominated the Giants, and I think there's a shot that the Giants are in last place in this division potentially, even though they got a good coach in Daboll. Look, if Daniel Jones is coming out throwing picks and making mistakes, there's nothing you could do as a coach. All right, so weather should be fine. I've got a beautiful day in San Francisco, or wherever the hell they play now, north of San Francisco. What do we think about some of these props here? Let me zoom in a little bit more. So what jumps out to me is Purdy is 230 over under for pass yards, and Daniel Jones is 214. And then you got rush yards. You got Purdy at 8, Christian McCaffrey 79, Daniel Jones at 37, and Debo at 15. So we're kind of burying the lead here. We'll get to the injuries in a minute, but Ayuk is questionable. We don't know if he's going to play on a short week. That could change everything. There's 2 very, very important pieces of news that we have to wait for before I'm really building anything for my lineups. So these props don't really matter right now because maybe they're counting Ayuk out. But does anything jump out to you? Maybe anytime touchdown score, first touchdown score, receiving yards. The leader for the Giants is 46.5, obviously, with Darren Waller. So I don't know. Anything jump out to you?
Nothing really. I would be curious to see what the odds are for no touchdowns from the Giants. I could easily see them like scoring 12 points off 4 field goals or something. I'm not kidding. Like this is a really, really tough game. And even if Saquon plays, like, it's a potential high ankle sprain, right? So like, I don't know, man. Like I don't really know what we're expecting here,
No,
and hopefully,
technically,
hopefully that was just some bad reporting, and
technically,
he's not hurt.
it's
Because dude, we can't lose any more of these elite running backs. I want to see some of these guys play football, dude.
yeah, dude, for real. Like, look, where's some wood? I'm knocking on this shit. But you know, if CMC fucking breaks his leg in the first quarter, that's just close your laptop, and that's probably, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at this point, based on what we've seen this year. All right, let's get into our injuries.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
So, Giants injury report, Saquon ankle. It seemed like yesterday even, there's no chance Saquon plays. Now, he's a game time decision. Is this all posturing from the coaching staff of the Giants? I don't know, dude. Like, if he goes out there and he's fine in warmups, does he play? And is he actually like going to be useful with that ankle sprain? Even though they said it's a normal, quotation mark, normal ankle sprain.
Well, I mean, look, I guess being 1-1, the urgency is not as crazy, so I don't think you need to rush them back. But going down 1-2 in the division that they're in with Philly and Dallas, right? That could be problematic. But isn't Kyle Shanahan notorious for being an asshole when it comes to reporting injuries? Maybe they're just being dicks back because that's what Kyle likes to do. I don't know,
Well,
man. Like,
Daboll, but Kyle, yeah, Kyle too.
no, I mean Kyle Shanahan. He likes to do that for the Niners. So maybe they're just doing it back to him. You know,
Yeah, could
kind
be.
of just making Saquon questionable or likely to play or whatever, just to mess with their game plan.
Totally.
But no, I don't think he plays. Even if he does, like I don't know that I want any of them. Like it's a high ankle sprain or it's a potential high ankle sprain. And maybe if feel free to correct me in the comments or in the Discord if anybody else has heard anything more on it. But like, and you know, it was pretty confident he wasn't playing. Like,
Yeah.
it was shocking when I saw that alert come through.
Oh, it was very shocking. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh shit, we're going to have to, this is going to be like an extra 10-minute show tonight because we're going to have to talk about all these different types of things that are going to happen. Adam Leviton, obviously, this is basically a Cody Main and Adam Leviton tweet show. Jordan Raanan, who is a legit, he's a legit beat writer for the Giants. He's got over 100,000 followers on Twitter. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. This is what he's saying if Saquon Barkley misses time. The Giants have three options at running back: Breda, Brightwell, and Eric Gray. If Barkley misses Thursday's contest, Breda is expected to step in and play the biggest role. Daboll mentioned this week they've spent several seasons together, dating back to their time in Buffalo, and he, quote, knows the offense. Breda is also the most trustworthy option as a pass blocker, which, if they're down by 15 points in this game, they're going to be throwing the damn ball, so he's going to be on the field. Brightwell should also get some carries, while Gray, the rookie, will be sporadically used as a runner and pass catcher. So, you know, doing all these best ball shows that we did throughout the summer, there was always that debate, you know, with Barkley holding out. All right, who do we need to draft in the 20th round or 19th round here, just in case if Barkley sits out? Well, I was getting to a ton of Breda. And then at one point, Eric Gray was like the guy. So I got a little bit of Eric Gray, but Breda is probably the dude that you could expect to step in and play the most. But they came out with pricing on this slate after, obviously, Saquon got hurt on Sunday. So, Breda's not really priced down. Like, in theory, you would think if they didn't know about the injury, he'd be like a $1,600, $2,000 type price guy, but he's priced much higher than that. So what are your thoughts on this whole Saquon situation, and what are you just mentally preparing for as you start to get ready to build lineups an hour and a half before lock when inactives are announced?
So, like, I think I'll just keep it pretty simple. If Saquon's in, I'm probably just going to fade the whole situation. I don't want any of it. Nobody's priced correctly. If Saquon's out, I think you're fine getting moderate exposure to Matt Breida. Hey, maybe it's the Matt Breida revenge game against San Francisco. And then, whoever's active with Gary Brightwell and Eric Gray, it's probably going to be Gary. I'll never be confident playing a guy named Gary in my DFS lineup. So it is what it is, but I'm sure he's cheap. So, no, we'll see. But again, like I think what we're looking for on New York is just the really one of the better points per dollar plays, or a low owned dude who can score a touchdown. I know that's kind of common sense, but like we don't really need to get too crazy on them. So if one of those guys ends up getting some run, we need to consider them.
So Wan'Dale Robinson is a guy that we've been talking about a lot over the summer for best ball. Excuse me, his rookie year last year, he had an injury. He had the knee injury, and now I think they're trying to phase him back in. If he's active, I'm not ready to play him yet. But this is the team where a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson, when there's no real clear number one alpha on the wide receiver side, you can argue that Hodgins is, but dude was signed off the street last year. There's a reason why the Bills didn't want him. So Wan'Dale Robinson, if he's active, maybe I put one lineup with him in, but yeah, I probably need to see something out of him before I start playing him. So to me, this is actually much bigger news. Ayuk, who is literally rated by PFF as the number one wide receiver in the NFL, and he's been absolutely crushing this year. He's got a shoulder injury and he's limited in practice. He's dealing with the AC sprain, so this seems more likely like he can play. If Ayuk is in, I think you have to play him. I know that Amari Cooper surprisingly stepped in and played, and he did okay. This is a little bit different situation with the shoulder injury. How much are you comfortable playing him if he is announced that he's actually playing?
He's their number one guy. He will get all the volume, all the targets if he plays the full game. I'm going to play him regardless. If he doesn't play, I think it just makes George Kittle a smash play. We've seen what happens is one of those guys is out. It's the guy that's not playing. It's the other guy that's going to get the volume, right? So I love Brandon Ayuk. He's dude. I have so much exposure to him in best ball.
Me too.
Like he saved my ass week 1.
Yeah, me too. So the biggest question here is who benefits the most with Ayuk out if he's out. Now you'd have to think that they're gonna transition their game plan to Debo or Kittle or one of these other, or obviously CMC is just on the field 100% of the time at this point. But Juwan Jennings is the guy that actually probably fills in for him directly. Like I don't think that Debo moves over into that spot. I think they probably just plug Juwan Jennings in and let Debo play Debo role. So we'll get to the salaries and we'll get to all that here in a minute. Let's see. Anything else? Well, Brandon Ayuk shoulder limited today on a short week. Only day that matters is Thursday, blah, blah, blah. I personally think he'll play. If I had to bet right now, I think he'll play and I think Saquon will sit. That's just me. Obviously, join that Discord, guys. We'll be in there talking about how we're going to pivot if any of these guys aren't playing. But are you ready to do the breakdown, dude? You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it, dude.
Break it down.
All right. So, Christian McCaffrey is $13,200. Is that the highest price player you've ever seen on a Showdown slate? I mean, maybe Lamar was like 12,800. I've never seen a player of 13,000. That's absolutely nuts, right? So, the only way that I'm not playing Christian McCaffrey in a game against the Giants is if somehow I'm Nostradamus and I think he's going to break his leg in the first quarter. I'm sorry that I keep saying that. Let me knock on wood again. There's no reason not to play Christian McCaffrey, even in a Millie Maker. Like, oh, I want to get different. Let's just not play Christian McCaffrey. Now, we talked about this with like Tyreek Hill. He's priced up so much he needs a 20-point game. And Tyreek Hill got kind of shut down in that game, and that's how you kind of got different. I'm not going out of my way at all to not play Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be a lock in every one of my lineups. The biggest question is how much do I play him at captain, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Christian McCaffrey's the man. Like I don't know, man. Like I came into the season kind of expecting him to be like maybe a 65-35 split with Eli Mitchell. Eli has 1 carry on the season. I expect that to change at some point, and like I don't want to guess wrong. But the problem is like all of our projections are based on Christian McCaffrey, not necessarily like, I don't know, maybe they're updating now, but like I don't know, like our impressions of Christian McCaffrey was him like splitting time and splitting touches with Debo with this crazy offense. The dude's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. He's just gonna, like, that's a first down every 2 times he runs the ball.
Yeah.
That's not even counting for his volume in the pass games. Yeah, man, play Christian McCaffrey. He's awesome. He's one of the best players in the NFL right now.
Usually I start with quarterback, but I just wanted to show the difference at 13.2K versus Saquon Barkley at 11K, who's overpriced in my opinion, especially with an injury. The biggest question here is, does Eli Mitchell get any more run? We'll get to that here when it comes to running backs. Let's start with quarterbacks here. This is absolutely insane to me. Daniel Jones is 10.2K. I know he can run the ball. I get it. Whatever. He's a quarterback on a team that is 10-point underdogs. So yes, you're going to have more passing opportunity from him, and you're going to probably get some garbage time opportunity. But Brock Purdy's 9,400, dude. Like, I think Goff in the opening weekend was about that price, which is ridiculous. And I know that they have to price somebody down with the guy like Christian McCaffrey at 13K. But Brock Purdy's 9,400. The dude's never lost a fucking game. Like $9,400. I think you have to consider playing over the field with him. Now, the devil's advocate here is, well, they're probably going to jump out to a lead and they're going to rely on the run game more. But how do they get to the lead? He's going to throw for 250 yards in the first half, probably. I don't know. That's just me. What are your thoughts here, man? I'm fully comfortable saying F Daniel Jones and maybe being under the field on him potentially, and then throwing a couple more lineups as a captain just in case if he breaks out an 80-yard run and doesn't get sniped from the rafters like he did that one time.
Yeah, man. So look, I like Daniel Jones to some extent. You probably should play 25 to 30% if you're getting to any MME or 20 max. Captain's probably the optimal place to be playing in. I think some unique build types would probably be 1-5 or 2-4, where you have him at captain and just run back with an onslaught of San Francisco. We'll see, right? Pricing might dictate that everyone's doing 2-4 with him at captain because it's easy to build that way or whatever. So we'll see when we get to the lineup builds where we want him. But look, I don't know if you want to get overexposed to this guy. I think you just need to be very game script specific. If this game is competitive at all, it has to be because Daniel Jones was successful. But I think Brock Purdy's the guy, man. 9,400. I don't know if you necessarily want to risk him at captain just because, like, the offense is so efficient that it'll probably cap around, maybe 250, 275 and, 2 touchdowns. But, like, it's a good performance for a showdown, right? At 9,400, what is that, 15 fantasy points, like 16? Like, that's right on projection. That's what we want from a guy who we're paying 9,400 for. So, like, Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy, those are really 2 core pieces that I want to build around. Just like all 468 other shows that are doing a showdown show, right? So, yeah, I mean, play Brock Purdy. Be careful with Daniel Jones.
It's so true, man. All right, let's go to running back. Let's start with the Giants. Saquon Barkley 11K. We talked about this already for most of the show. Matt Breida 7K. Like I said, he should be 2K. Gary Brightwell's 5K. I'm not touching Gary Brightwell at 5K. The key to this slate is finding the 1 or 2 players from the Giants that score a touchdown. They're going to score 17 points probably. So who gets involved? Is it the kicker? Do we get a big touchdown from Jalen Hyatt? Do we get 7 receptions and a touchdown from Darren Waller? Or is this like a Barkley situation? He comes in. This team is kind of fighting for their life right now. I know they're 1-1, but they need to win this game. So that's why they're pushing Saquon Barkley probably to play. But at 11K, dude, like he needs to. He was more. I'm pretty sure he's more expensive than Tyreek Hill on that last showdown slate, or around the same price. So at 11K, you're looking at a guy that probably needs to score you 18, 19, 20 fantasy points on a bum ankle. This could be a situation where if he's active, you might consider fading him, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So look, I'm fading Saquon Barkley. if he plays. If he's miraculously healthy, sure. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think we're going to get news validating that. So I'm not going to play him. Matt Breida, 7K. He's interesting, I guess, if Saquon Barkley's out. But outside of that, man, I didn't realize Brightwell was 5K. Like, I'm not paying that. I'd rather just Eric Gray be active.
That's insane. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, look at these numbers. I mean, we kind of skipped over this in the beginning, but points scored 28th in the league. Points allowed 32nd. Their defense is ranked 29th. Their offense is ranked 25th. They're 32nd overall team grades. This is going to be an ass whooping, dude. Now, if in some parallel universe out of the 1 million different world simulations, this game actually turns out to be a Giants win, fine. But are they going to put up 40 points against San Francisco? Are they going to put up 30 points against San Francisco? I just highly doubt it. This is one of these games where I'm going to listen to Vegas. I'm going to listen to the projections more than I'm going to just try to get fancy with it. Matt Breida, receiving grade 26%, run grade 65. So if he can get involved in the run game, and you're looking for with Matt Breida at that price, you need like goal line opportunities for him. Do I see the Giants getting to the goal line maybe once or twice? And if Daniel Jones gets a quarterback sneak and scores, you're screwed because Matt Breida is too expensive. Yeah. Anyways, like that's pretty much all I have to say about that. It's just 7K, man. Like that's the hard part about if they would have released this shit before he got injured. I know like that's crazy, but we would be having a much better, much more interesting talk here when it comes to the running backs, when it comes to salaries. All right. So
while you're switching, let me just emphasize the fact that like through the first 6 quarters of the NFL season, the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants scored 0 total points. 4 of those quarters were against the Cowboys for sure. 2 of those quarters with the Arizona Cardinals. We all know how bad that team is, guys. Like I don't think we can take for granted how bad this offense is.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
It's that Arizona Cardinals. All right, let's go to San Francisco. So we've talked enough about this. The biggest question here is Eli Mitchell at 2,400. Let's say this game gets out of hand. I like we've seen. Let's look at these snap rates here. Christian McCaffrey last week, 100% of the snaps. Elijah Mitchell has 10 snaps this year at running back. This is the week that Elijah Mitchell starts the second half and gets fucking 20 carries, probably, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're toying with us, dude. These coaches, these young coaches, they're fucking with us. Elijah Mitchell's $2,400. Now, he's probably, let's see, what is that? Ownership, 23%. I call bullshit on that. I think he's going to be 10 to 15% or probably even less than that. So if you're trying to ship a milli maker with a 200,000 plus entry contest, Elijah Mitchell might be worth considering, even though it's incredibly risky. You could get a straight up goose egg from him. But if you're willing to risk it, $2,400, I like Elijah Mitchell much more than any of these Giants running backs, right?
Elijah Mitchell is probably my favorite play on the slate. We know that Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to run this offense or run down Christian McCaffrey, but we know that. We know that he's going to try and work his guys in, and I'm pretty sure he went on the record saying something about that recently about how he didn't intend to just not get Elijah Mitchell involved. So I think on a short week, this is a good time to take a risk like that. Maybe they do tone back Christian McCaffrey a little bit, and Eli Mitchell gets another, at this point, like he would need to get like 15 to 20% of the work. But at 2,400, we don't need to get that high. If he was 4,800, I think that's a little too risky. But at 2,400, I think he's priced right, where you can just build with what you need to. If you want to handcuff him with Mitchell, you can probably, or with McCaffrey, you probably do a lot of building pretty flexibly.
Remember when during basketball season when a report came out that Christian McCaffrey was going to be limited on his snaps this year to save him? That's the kind of bullshit misdirection that we're looking at. So Elijah Mitchell, 2,400, play at your own risk. because he could literally not see the field based off of how this game goes. But you could also see him in the fourth quarter getting some run. And I truly do think he'll get some run in this game because they cannot play Christian McCaffrey 100% of the snaps every single game. He's too important to this offense. Kyle Juszczyk at $400, he's always worth a little bit of a shot because he can get 4 or 5 targets randomly. And he can get involved on the goal line, which if you get a $400 guy that can score you 8 fantasy points, that's pretty huge. That's pretty damn huge. All right, let's go to wide receivers. So Debo's 8,800. And knowing that Brandon Ayuk is clearly the alpha here, he's priced down to 8,600. Juwan Jennings, 4,800. And then you got Ray McCloud. Sorry, you can't see that down here. Ray McCloud is $200. So we've talked about it ad nauseum almost at this point. But who do you like the most here if Brandon Ayuk is out? Obviously, Debo gets a huge boost. Simply, it's not going to change the amount of time, the amount that he's on the field, most likely. It's just going to change out how they're going to game plan for this game. And probably Debo's going to get involved in the run game, in the pass game, fucking kick returns, who knows? Who do you like here, man? Are you interested in Ray McCloud and Juwan Jennings at 4,800? That's an interesting price for him. He's priced up a little bit, but I'm considering playing him.
So I guess when it comes to the $200 guys, I'm going to answer that first. When it comes to the $200 guys, I think we'll hop in the Discord. I'm going to wait to provide feedback on that until we know who's active. It's possible they only come in with 4 wide receivers, right? And it's Juwan Jennings, Debo Samuel, and then 2 other guys. I have no idea. So let's see who they are. Obviously, you want a little bit of exposure to do to $200 with a $13,200 Christian McCaffrey. But outside of that, man, if Brandon Ayuk plays, I want a healthy exposure to him. He's my guy, man. I like that dude. He opened
ASU.
up week we opened up week 1 really strong, and like even with his injury, he's still leading the team in receptions and yards. So and touchdowns, I guess he has two touchdown receptions. So look, man, he is the wide receiver 1. Debo is the joker, right? He's the guy who's going to get involved in other ways. But Brandon Ayuk has just really emerged as that top tier wide receiver for this team. That's really good to see, man. I like it. I'm happy for the guy.
Yeah.
And then Debo Samuel played Juwan Jennings. If Brandon Ayuk's out, he's going to be an excellent option. Was he 4,800?
Yeah.
You can probably play him a little bit of captain if you're feeling a little risky in some of these deeper field GPPs. I don't think he's going to be a direct 1-for-1 replacement for Brandon Ayuk. So I don't think he's going to go out there and get the same volume. But I do think that he's a great option.
Yeah, and here's some of the matchups. You got Trey Hawkins on the Giants side, Deontay Banks, Adoree Jackson, most likely guarding that slot running wide receiver. These guys aren't ranking great. They're obviously they've given up so many damn points this year. They've been beaten up. So it's a good matchup. It's clearly a good matchup. All right, let's go to the Giant side, man. This is kind of a shit show, but I do think there's some high upside with these guys. Isaiah Hodgins, to me, is the clear number 1 wide receiver on this team, but that's obviously debatable. Darius Slayton, not looking terrible. He's 5,600. Jalen Hyatt, the rookie, 5,200. We saw 2 targets, 2 receptions, 84 yards. We've talked about this all summer. He's a huge upside guy. He's wearing number 13, Odell Beckham-like. He can make similar type plays down the field. He's a boomer bust guy. I want a couple lineups with Jalen Hyatt at captain this week, because even if this is a 30-14 blowout, Jalen Hyatt can catch one of those touchdowns. Paris Campbell running in the slot. He's going to be involved. He's $4,400. He's not grading well. He's a safer pick. If you had to choose between Hyatt and Campbell, I don't know what kind of psychopath is making that decision. But if you are making that decision, it's probably Campbell. But Hyatt has the upside. And then Sterling Shepard is basically 92 years old at this point. He's $1,000. Where do we go with these wide receivers? We talked about it all summer for best ball. I'm still just as confused.
Yeah, man. So look, I know Isaiah Hodgins is priced like the number 1 wide receiver, but so far this year it's Darren Waller's number 1 in targets, Saquon's 2, then then it's Paris Campbell, Darius Slayton. Like, it takes a little bit to get down to Isaiah Hodgins. He's after Darius Slayton, so not that big of a bit. But look, I think it kind of matters. I'm sure they're going to involve him a little bit more. The disparity is not that big. You got Slayton at 10, Paris at 10, and Hodgins at 8. So look, it's possible that any one of these guys could get involved, but I just like taking stabs on Paris Campbell. 4,400. You need a little bit of price flexibility on a slate like this to play the studs from San Francisco that you want to get exposure to. So that's probably the guy that I'm leaning to. But did Hodgins have a touchdown last week, though?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Actually, let's look at the box score real quick. That's why I got all this shit up here. Hodgins 1 touchdown, Saquon Barkley a receiving touchdown. Yeah, so Hodgins had the touchdown, and that's my point here. Is Hodgins to me is a great red zone target. If you're going to be doubling Darren Waller, you're going to be moving coverage towards his side. You put Isaiah Hodgins up by himself, and you just toss the ball up to him in the back of the end zone. And I think he's the guy that can come down with some of those catches. I know I'm higher on him than probably most people, but I do like Hodgins in this game. Not nearly as much as Darren Waller. Like, we've talked about it all summer, and it's still true. It's the tiers of pass catchers. It's Darren Waller way up here. Like, way up here. Way down below that, you got Saquon Barkley in the pass catching role, and then you got everybody else. And most likely, the everybody else is led by Isaiah Hodgins. So I think you got to get some exposure to him because, like I said, one guy on this team is going to score a touchdown. Who is it going to be? Well, probably Waller or Hodgins. The matchups here, you got Chevarius Ward, Avery Thomas, and Lance Lenore's brother. These guys are grading out well. Obviously, this is like one of the best defenses in the league. It's a tough matchup for basically. You could on paper say that this Giants wide receiver core is like the worst in the league. Like the Cardinals have a better wide receivers list than these guys probably. So they're all cheap. So you gotta think about it. And the game script is these guys are losing by 15 plus points or whatever in the second half, and they're gonna get a bunch of garbage time receptions. This is Draftkings. We get a point for each catch. So we got to consider playing all these guys. All right, tight end. Darren Waller 7,400. That seems criminal to me. How many targets is he going to get? Like, this is their only guy, especially if Saquon Barkley's out. Who the hell else are they going to really rely on? He is the stud. They paid him a shitload of money. I know he's banged up, but he's always banged up. He's $7,400. I think he's a great captain option. I think he's a good flex option. I think if you had to choose one guy, maybe besides the kicker for the Giants, it's probably Darren Waller. And I would say that even more so over Daniel Jones, in my opinion. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Darren Waller's probably I don't know, man. Like, is he going to end up being one of the chalkiest plays that we've seen? Like, if Saquon Barkley's out, I still think that people are going to be a little hesitant just because of his injury history and his like inconsistency at times. And honestly, I hope so, because if that's the case, then like I might actually, before we get to the slides, like I might actually change it before we get there. You know what I mean? So like, and that's another reason to join the Discord. As the week goes on and we get more news, like our captain and fade may change a little bit, right? If for whatever reason Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy aren't playing, then obviously, I might want to have a little more exposure to the Giants overall. So hop in the Discord so we can talk about it a little more. But that's not what you talked to me about. We're trying to talk about Darren Waller. My bad.
That's okay.
Look, man, I love Darren Waller. He's easily a guy that can end up with 120 yards on 14 receptions and no touchdowns. And at that price, he might be enough to, do a 1-5 onslaught with, that solo something. I don't know if he'll solo. He'll be pretty chalky, I think.
So Daniel Bellinger is a guy that I'm interested in at $800. We're going to need value. We're going to need these like $1,000 and under guys value on this slate. And if anybody can do it, Daniel Bellinger is going to be on the field. They're going to probably be running a lot of two tight end sets or /1 tight end set. And Darren Waller is that slot receiver moving around. So to me, Bellinger is going to be on the field a lot. He's going to be used for his blocking ability. This dude bulked up in the summer. There was a couple of shots of this motherfucker. He looks giant as far as his physique. I'm not looking at other men specifically here, but like you can't avoid it. The dude's big, and to me, he's a great option when it comes to red zone opportunities. If they're all going crazy on Darren Waller, Daniel Bellinger might be sitting there over in the middle of the field of that red zone, wide open. He's $800. If he can score a touchdown in the slate, you probably are going to need him in the optimal. We talked about Daniel Bellinger already before for both best ball and the other showdown slate. Any interest in him at $800?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, like I feel like we spend more time talking about him than we should be. Like we should just have a disclaimer. We're willing to play guys like this that are going to be on the field. But Bellinger is a little bit a different scenario just because like he'll actually play some true tight end one snaps. Well, Darren Waller's just running about and his role in the offense and slaughter some shit.
The last few weeks you've had all the homoerotic accidental verbiage here. That's my job this week, apparently. All right, let's go to San Francisco here. George Kittle 6,600. That seems criminal. He was slightly banged up, in training camp. He was banged up last year to start the year, and he ended up being one of the top tight end fantasy wise to end out the year. He's $6,600, dude. You got to consider him for captain, and he might get kind of forgotten about with all these weapons on the San Francisco side because he really just hasn't had that big game. I think this could be the big game for him at 6,600.
Yeah, man. I love getting my tight ends. Well, maybe I'm gonna carry the trend to myself. But look, George Kittle, 6,600. Man, I'd pay more for that guy. I have before. So look, you play him at captain. He's easily gonna, a guy who can go get you 2 touchdowns. He's one of the best tight ends in the league and best tight ends in NFL history.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Ayuk is out. Like he's a guy that I'm going to be targeting a lot. George Kittle becomes one of my favorite plays. I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Deebo Samuel in like large field GPPs, just because again, like Kittle and Waller, their pricing so friendly that I think ownership will tick up just a little bit because you can build a little bit more, with a bit more flexibility with those guys. So look, yeah, George Kittle's always a great play, especially if he's under like 8,200.
All right, let's get to defense and kickers here. So we're going to have to spend a little bit more time talking about this for both teams. The 49ers defense is 5,800. It seems like an obvious play, but you start to get these defenses over 5K. We've seen it in the past during these showdown slates, and you got to take a stand either way, I feel like. At 5,800, to me, I feel like you play them in the captain spot just in case if they get a scoop and score, they get like 5 sacks, or they hold them to a shutout. I don't see the shutout thing happening. And at 5,800, I feel like there's other options in that range that maybe I would be willing to consider. I mean, Kittle, you just pay up a little bit and you got Kittle. So if this surprisingly becomes a little bit more of a closer game, and by close, I mean like within 10 points, the 49ers defense to me is potentially fadeable. It's a little bit risky because everybody and their mother knows that San Francisco is going to win this game, and it's a 10-point spread. But we got to talk about these high-priced defenses. We've always seen it. It feels like the fish come in and they boost up that ownership, and the smart players usually fade them. And if the 49ers defense goes off, well, you move on to the next slate. Is that kind of how you're treating it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got 2 defensive touchdowns on Monday, right? Yeah, Steelers had 2. So usually that impacts some of the ownership when it comes to these defenses.
Yeah.
I hope that 49ers defense is 20 plus owned, right? That's honestly that is easy leverage. At 5,800, like you're dead on. You should be paying up to get to George Kittle, or if Ayuk's out, like I'd rather spend 1,000 less and go to Juwan Jennings. So I think 49ers defense is an easy way to just not get too crazy. If you want to play him in cash to hedge yourself a little bit, I even then, like I don't even know you need to play him at any lineups and cap with them at captain GPP. If you think they're going to score 2 touchdowns, then sure, by all means. But they, other than that, they need like 12 sacks, and they can't give up more than what 6 points. So like it's crazy. They need to pay off a certain score at captain. So look, I think you're fine fading them. And I mean, you said we needed to talk about the both teams kicker and defense. I don't think we need to talk about the Giants defense. I won't be playing them.
Yeah, that's true. I do agree with you on that. But Graham Gano to me feels like he's in a good spot, and maybe necessary. If there's 17 points, if Vegas says they're putting up about 17 points in this game, you got to think he's going to be, he's going to account for 6, maybe 2 field goals, maybe a 50-yarder and a 40-yarder. 9 or 10 fantasy points out of a kicker at 4K is that. I mean, we got to pick 1 or 2 guys from the Giants in almost every line. Well, we have to pick 1 for sure, but 2 guys potentially. I feel like Graham Gano is a candidate for one of those 2 guys that we would pick, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I think Waller, and then I might go Gano even ahead of Daniel Jones. It really depends on what the line kind of closes at and what we really think is going to happen with the Giants offense. Like I think that they could put up 12 to 15 points, but I also think those 12 to 15 points could all be field goals. Even 1 touchdown and then another 9 points in field goals. Like though you need the kicker and whoever had that 1 touchdown from the Giants if you're going to build. And that's assuming the 1 touchdown wasn't, like Daniel Jones at 10 plus K, right? They still need to be optimal scorers. So like it's an interesting one, man. And honestly, like if Graham Gano is under 20%, like I think the ownership should be swapped between Moody and Gano. Like, you know what I mean? I know that Giants are probably going to be losing, but at a certain point, like you do take points. Like in the first 2 quarters, you're going to take points. The first 3, and if you're down by 28, like I don't know, man. Like you're going to risk the health of your players to go for some of these 4th and 25 from the, from the 30, and when you can just take 3 points. So like I know it can be tilting, but like you got to. I'm spending way too much time talking about these kickers, damn it. But still, play Graham Gano. I think he's fine.
I hate kickers, but we got to talk about him tonight. We got to talk about the Giants kicker. We just have to. All right, let's get to our captain option here. This is our favorite tournament captain on DraftKings, Denny Green.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, you're going Debo. I'm going CMC. How could I not? Like every once in a while, you want to get crazy at captain. You want to play a suboptimal type guy who has upside. To me, I know he's expensive as shit, but I'd rather just F around in the flex with a under $1,000 guy to sort of, figure that out as far as how screwed I'm going to be with salary. I'd rather just put CMC at captain. So for you at Debo, is this if Ayuk is out, or is this in both situations?
I don't know, man. This is kind of both situations. I like Debo more as a GPP play, right? Just deeper tournaments. He just missed on at least 1 touchdown on Sunday, him and Purdy. I think they align with that. And Debo's going to get his opportunities where he has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I really think we're going to see alternating weeks, essentially. Like Ayuk had 2 touchdowns week 1, and then what was it? McCaffrey had 2 last week, and then who's going to be the 2 touchdown guy this week? I really think it's probably Debo. So it just taking a gamble there. He'll probably be sub 8% owned at captain in the big contest. So like that's kind of what you need, especially with a guy like CMC who could take 25% ownership. Like that's probably really high. It'd probably be closer to like 15 to 18 just because of what he's priced. So like if he isn't the optimal captain and you got a guy like Debo, you're just immediately gaining massive leverage over the field.
Look, Debo admits that last year he just wasn't into it as much as he should be. I think this is a bounce back season for him. He's never going to replicate 2 years ago when he absolutely crushed that entire year. But I think this season he's Pro Bowl material. And maybe it starts with this game. Maybe he gets those 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing and 1 receiving. All right, let's go to our fades here.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
So Ellie, you're just fucking fading the Giants, and I think by what you mean by that is 2 guys at max, probably 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as we get closer to night, things might change, right? If Saquon is ruled for sure out and we lose Ayuk, maybe I'm willing to take a few more stabs on the Giants at that point. Probably not. I don't know why losing your best offensive player would make me change my mind about playing the Giants. But, like hop in the Discord and we'll chop it up there. But for the most part, like my exposure will be because I'm required to have 1 Giant player in. And I'll probably be rotating mostly between kicker Daniel Jones, whoever the starting running back ends up being. And then I'll have random exposure to Waller and not random to Waller. I'll have a decent amount of him, but random exposure to the tight ends here and there, maybe like a few percent of each.
So, like I said earlier, in the defensive section here, it's probably stupid, but I'm taking this in the situation where, they do put up 17 points and the defense does not score a touchdown. If that's the case, the 49ers at that price tag is probably not worth it in the flex to me. But I will have exposure to them in the captain just in case if they get those random, they get a scoop and score and a punt return for a touchdown and they hold the team to 10 points where you absolutely have to have them. At that point, I'm just going to play them at the captain spot because of the ownership. It's more of a cover your ass type situation probably. All right, let's get to our lineup build. Let's build a couple lineups, dude. So who do you want to start with here? And by the way, before we get into this, throw us a like, guys. We really appreciate it. Let's get us to 50 likes on this video. These Thursday night videos have been crushing. We really, really appreciate all you guys. We've been putting a lot of work into this, and it's paying off. We really appreciate it. We do have our Monday night shows specifically for the members, and guess what? We got 2 more. We get another double header on Monday night, so we're gonna bust out another 2 videos for the members only, and then we'll do another 2-game slate for everybody this week. We're gonna be busy, man. We're gonna need some tackling fuel. I'm gonna need to get some more whiskey. All right, who do you want to build with that captain here? Let's pretend we want to build a lineup for one of these like smaller single entries. Let's say the $100 single entry or something to that effect.
Let's start with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think that's the obvious choice here. So look at that. Right off the bat, we got 6,000 left per spot. I've never seen anything like that before. What do we do? Where do we go here, man? Do you want to grab your 1 Giants player first, or do you want to throw in the 4 San Francisco guys first and see where we're at?
Look, if we're gonna build cash, build chalky, let's assume. Are we assuming Saquon's in or out? I'm gonna go out.
Yeah, and even if he's in, I don't know that I'm playing him in cash.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I think the riskiest I'd be willing to go would be Daniel Jones.
All right, let's put Purdy and Daniel Jones in.
Yeah,
right off the bat, and we're absolutely screwed. I mean, look, in my opinion, I think you axe Daniel Jones and you go with the kicker for the Giants right off the bat. Graham Gano,
yeah.
4K, and then we get to Waller at 7,400. That's a great price for him. So 4,700 a pop. That's a little bit more reasonable. We got to get 2 guys. Like, look, if you're skipping around and you've jumped just to this lineup spot, that's totally fine. But I don't know that even if Saquon's out, I'm playing Breida, especially not playing him in cash. So, the value we're going to get from one of the best players on the slate being out is just not there. So I don't think we need to address that really. So what we can do here, let's play this 2 ways. Let's say Ayuk is in. how do we want to handle that? And then we'll do another. If Ayuk is out, we probably want to get a Juwan Jennings or even Kittle here potentially, right? So let's start with Ayuk out.
If Ayuk's out, I'm going probably Kittle.
And that leaves us 2,800. And guess what? Now, okay, I'm not. I wouldn't recommend it, but like, look, if you're, for the podcast listeners, I put Elijah Mitchell there at the last spot. Now this is like what is it? The $100K $5 single entry where you still need to get a little unique. This is probably how you would handle that. But for cashy, like small field, I'm not putting Elijah Mitchell there. But who else is there to put? There's really nobody. You'd have to. He's probably the best option there in that area. So we probably got to pull Kittle out or Waller. I'd probably. Do you want to just put Juwan Jennings in here?
Yeah, but I don't think it really does all that much differently. I think you just
you get a kicker.
Paris.
You at least get Paris Campbell or Moody. So you could go 2 kickers. So here's what we got. We got McCaffrey, a captain, Purdy, Gano, Waller, Juwan Jennings, and Moody. Maybe that's too many kickers, but to me, this feels kind of right for a bigger single entry, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Let's build some tournament lineups. I always hate building these cashy type lineups before we have news because it doesn't really fucking matter. McCaffrey at captain. Let's build a tournament build with this. Where do you want to go? You want to go 5-1? You want to go 4-2?
Let's try to go 4-2 if we can. It seems tight. You want to just let's go Elijah Mitchell too, just right out the gate, man. Right. I really like him.
I know it's stupid, but I like him too, man. Debo, you want to try to get Debo in here too?
Yeah, let's do it.
4,800. So we're legally obligated here to get one giant, at least. Who's that one giant? I mean, is this a Hodgins? Do you want to go Hyatt? We can't get Daniel Jones obviously in this particular lineup. I don't think that you're getting Daniel Jones and McCaffrey lineups with Purdy.
Put in the kicker. Let's see what that gives us.
Gano, okay, 5,600 in the last spot. So Slayton, Hyatt, Brightwell, Jennings. So I'd probably go with one of these random dudes like Hyatt or maybe Slayton.
Yeah, I'm fine with those.
It's kind of weird.
To be honest with you.
Let's go down from Debo to Ayuk if he's playing. So we got McCaffrey, Purdy, Elijah Mitchell, Ayuk. This is for a bigger size tournament. And that leaves us with about 4,900 a pop. Do you want to put in Waller here? Question mark?
Yes.
Leaves us.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything down here, though.
Shepard, Bellinger, randos. Probably not. I mean, look, if I'm building like 60 to 100 lineups, I'd be okay with getting like a Bellinger as my final guy here. This is a weird lineup. You got McCaffrey, Purdy, Elijah Mitchell, Ayuk, Waller, and Bellinger. You got 2 tight ends from the same team.
So,
what do you think?
Real quick, leave Ayuk in there. I think this works perfectly, but put in the defense, the Niners defense.
Okay.
And then
4K.
What does that give you?
4K.
Kicker.
Gano. Hey, that's not bad.
That might actually be a cash lineup worth playing too.
McCaffrey, Purdy, Elijah Mitchell, Ayuk, 49ers defense, and you got good old Graham Gano on the other side. Let's get away from McCaffrey here because there's only certain type builds we can do. Where do you want to go next?
Let's do my captain. Let's throw in Debo.
All right. Let's try to get Daniel Jones.
Purdy.
Let's try to get Daniel Jones in here too. Can we? Probably not. That's the thing, dude.
Yeah,
10.2K for Daniel Jones. That's too much. But we'll put him in here. So that gives us nothing. I mean, you got to go Elijah Mitchell. You got to go Shepard. You got to
throw
go
him in
Eric
there,
Gray.
man.
Oh man, am I going to get like 80% Elijah Mitchell in this slate? Shit.
And then what? So we got 1,600 left.
Eric Gray. So that's dumb. But Shepard probably is the better option here. Bellinger.
I mean, even Bellinger, Kyle Juszczyk, whatever his name is. Again, like if for whatever reason one of these $200 dudes is activated instead of Brandon Ayuk, you know what I mean? Like then
Yeah.
one of those guys could be in place of Daniel Bellinger to punt. But like I wouldn't hate playing something like this. It's just impressive that there's some flexibility to build this way.
So let's do that real quick. Let's just assume that Ayuk is out. Let's get Ray McLeod in here. Ray McLeod has been looking good as a blocker. So maybe they try to get him involved more. Maybe that's what gets him on the field, and randomly he just catches a big pass at $200. So we got one giant, and we got $3,800. It doesn't do much for us. Guess who's there? Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell is like available in every lineup, and he fits perfectly. If we could just get like 10 carries out of this dude and maybe like a couple receptions, my God, that could be huge. Do we want to pull out? Maybe let's pull out Purdy here. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's pull out Purdy.
And let's go. Let's do this. Let's put Debo and McCaffrey, and let's do a 2-4. So Debo goes off in the first half. McCaffrey crushes across the entire game as usual. And then you got garbage time, Daniel Jones picking up 10, 15-yard runs on 3rd and 27. Random shit like that. And then you got guys catching the ball on the other side. Volume type PPR guys. So to me, that's Waller. Who else? Paris Campbell? Gano? I think, no, we can't do that. Damn, that was close. We could do Paris Campbell and Eric Gray. I don't know if I like Eric Gray. Gano? Let's try Gano. There's 2K. There's no one there. There's Shepard. You're basically punting. Yeah. You're basically completely punting at this last spot here. Yeah. Let's get rid of Waller. Let's say they completely shut down Waller. You want to go Hodgins instead?
Yeah, we can do that. We can go Hodgins.
Let's go Hodgins.
I think we're still in that awkward range, though.
Yeah, we probably are. Let's just go right back to our kicker spot and just see if we can fit Gano in there and what that does. It's 3K Elijah fucking Mitchell. Every time.
What if okay, I know we were building with Debo a captain, but what if is Ayuk cheaper? No, he's only like $200.
By $200, right? But that could change everything. Let's put Ayuk at captain. Ayuk.
I think that gives us the kicker there.
So
anyways,
Daniel Jones. So McCaffrey, Daniel Jones. Who am I missing?
Throwing Waller again.
Waller. Kicker. Where are you at, Gano? And we can't even get to Mitchell this time. Eric Gray. So instead of Waller, Hodgins.
Hodgins, yeah.
Let's try Hodgins. 7,300. Let's go kicker. Let's just put him in and see where that puts us. 3,300. Giants defense, nah. Elijah Mitchell, 2,400, and we left $900 on the table. Can we punt better than the kicker here, like Daniel Bellinger, and see what happens?
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
6,500. All right, that feels a little bit better. But now you got a bunch of backup quarterbacks. You got 49ers defense. I suppose you could do like a 3-3 with 49ers defense or Slayton. That feels a little bit better. So Ayuk, McCaffrey. And we got a second half garbage time catch up with Hodgins, Bellinger, Slayton, and Daniel Jones. This is crazy, man. Do you want to do like a punt captain? Like that's way cheaper?
I mean, we don't even need to punt. Just put in, let's build a Kittle lineup.
All right, let's do Kittle. Now, obviously, I like Waller at captain too, but we're not going to have time for that. Let's get to Kittle. So McCaffrey, obviously. We haven't built with Saquon at all. Let's just pretend that he's out. We got to go Purdy, right? Where do we go from here?
Throw in Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. So can't get Waller. We're going to have to punt 2 guys here. Let's do kicker. Graham Gano. Elijah Mitchell. I see a theme here. I'm sensing Elijah Mitchell is the key to everything. Playing McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell together, you got any problem with that? Obviously not. We just built like fucking 10 lineups with that situation. So what'd you learn, man?
I learned that week 3 showdown is just going to be me pretty much doubling down on like 20% of my best ball lineups, gambling on Eli Mitchell.
Oh man! All right, what's your final score prediction and who's your low-owned guy score? I'm guessing that's Elijah Mitchell, right?
I'm praying it's Elijah Mitchell. 27 to man, let's go 27 to 15. The 15 all on Gano field goals.
5 ones, baby. I'm gonna go 31-21. I think maybe this is gonna be a little bit. Hey, there's a spread. It's 10. There's a push. My low-owned guy. I'm gonna say Bellinger can score. Just I think Elijah Mitchell. I'm hoping Elijah Mitchell can score in this game, but I'm gonna say Bellinger. All right, man. Anything else to add to this? We're at over an hour here. Sorry about that, guys, but we got to talk about Elijah Mitchell a lot in this showdown slate.
I don't got anything else. Hop in the Discord, guys, and we'll keep you updated on our Elijah Mitchell exposure as we get closer to lock.
100%. See you guys later.